Hello guys, thank you so much for clicking in this video. I hope you're gonna enjoy it. My name is Kian and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna react to an album that I've been waiting for a long time. This is the new album by Florence The Machine and it's called High as Hope. It's quite interesting actually because today two albums by artists that I really love were released. One is by Florence The Machine and the other one is by Drake. I'll probably react to this later because I saw that it's a very long album, so I probably won't have the time to do it soon enough. But those two artists were actually artists that I really loved in high school, that I kept listening to over and over again. They are artists that I still love today. But right now I'm gonna focus on High as Hope. We have heard a few tracks from this album so far. We've heard A Sky Full of Stars, we've heard Hunger, and we've recently heard Big God. Both of these songs, when I first heard them, I was not crazy about them. I thought they were nice, but I was not overwhelmed, but I was not as excited as I could have been when I first heard, for example, What Kind of Man or St. Jude. But you know what, these songs actually really grew on me. Hunger is definitely one of my favorite tracks by Florence and the Machine ever. So I'm very excited about this album. I've loved all of their albums, but especially the last one, or Big or Blue or Beautiful. Let's listen to this new offering by Florence and the Machine.
The show was ending and I had started to cry. Woke up in Chicago and the skies turned black. I hear your heart beating in your chest. The world's so still, there's nothing left. Skyscrapers look on like great unblinking giants.
The lyrics are really descriptive, which is kind of classic Florence and the Machine. Whoa. Wait, whoa, this transition was incredible. Whoa. This first song really felt like an opening to an album. I think this is the first time Florence and the Machine have used a song that is so, I wouldn't say slow, but quiet. I wouldn't know how to define it, but they usually have really big openings. Of course, the Dog Days Are Over, there's Only a Fortnight, and Ship to Wreck, which you listen to this and you're directly thrown into the album. On this one, it's a bit more quiet. It builds into those huge drums at the end, but at the beginning, it's kind of slower, a bit more peaceful. It almost feels like Florence Welch is getting out the stage. She's going back to a hotel and she's just thinking about life and thinking about music after being, so overstimulated for an hour on stage. She's just kind of thinking about her life. It actually was a beautiful way to open the album. The drums at the end were exquisite, but this transition, I need to re-listen to the end of June and then straight into Hunger because this was so beautiful. Whoa. Oh, this is so great. I love this song, by the way, so I might overreact to this for a change.
At 17 I started to study myself. I thought that love was kind of emptiness. We all have a hunger. We all have a hunger.
This song is gonna sound so good live.
I thought that love was in the drugs, but the more I took, the more it took away, and I could never get enough.
I really love this last line. You make a fool of death with your beauty, and for a moment I forget to worry. Hunger is so anthemic. I think that's a word. Anthemic? like to say it's an anthem. I feel like that's the kind of song you put really loud in your car or during a concert and you sing it at the top of your lungs and you're just giving everything. I feel like that's that kind of song, but at the same time, it's really deep, really meaningful, really beautiful. You can feel that there's a lot of emotion. There's almost kind of a sadness to it, and I really love it. It's not a song, as I said before, that I really liked the first time I listened to it. I thought, oh, okay, it's Florence the Machine, I like it, but it's kind of, a song I've already heard by her. But no, I feel like I've never heard that kind of song by her. I don't know exactly what is so special about it, but it's just a feeling you get when you listen to it. Also, there's something that I love in this song. There's the part where she says, I don't want to mess up the lyrics, so I'm gonna look at them. Tell me what you need or you look so free, the way you use your body, baby. Come and walk here for me. I found it quite genius, actually, to use these lines because it feels so emotional and so beautiful in this song and so meaningful, but at the same time it's like lyrics you could hear on any song on the radio. So I feel like there's really something interesting here. There's something that I really like. The next song, it's called South London Forever, and I don't know why, but I just wanted to say that I love the title. I don't know why.
When I go home alone, I drive past the place where I was born and the places that I used to dream. I thought it doesn't get better than this. There can be nothing better than this. We climbed onto the roof of the museum and someone made love in the
Oh,
and I forgot my name.
the drums on this album are quite something. Oh, this verse. But did I dream too big? But did I have to let it go? South London Forever, first off, has a title that I love for some reason. Then it has big drums, horns, there's horns played by Kamasi Washington, and it also has chords. This is pretty much the song that was made for me to love. And finally, it has lyrics about being young and that are very melancholic.
Need a big gun, big enough to hold your love. Jesus Christ, it hurts. Oh, your affection, let it rain on me. Don't leave me on this white cliff, let it slide down to the sea.
Big God is a song that I've already heard, and like the previous ones, at first it didn't do so much for me. Like, I liked it, but I didn't think it was incredible. I think the production is really interesting on this track and probably on this album as a whole, because it's still very stripped down. There isn't much happening at the beginning. It sounds kind of quiet and almost hinting, but then it builds into those big drums once again, those horns. And I really like this on this new album is that Florence and Machine use a lot of horns, and I love horns. They really add something to the song and to the atmosphere of the song and the album. I actually really love Big God's music video because I feel like it fits the song perfectly. The song is very haunting. There's something very cinematic about it, very visual. It really does sound like a song for a soundtrack for a movie. What is funny is that this song is actually about people not answering to your text messages. That's what Florence stated in an interview, and I think that's actually quite funny to think that the reason for such an epic song, it's such an haunting song, is just this simplistic problem.
How deeply are you sleeping? Are you still awake? A good friend told me you've been staying up so late. And I can tell that I'm in trouble when that music starts to play. In a city without seasons, it keeps raining in LA. I thought I was flying, but maybe I'm dying.
This is my favorite part of the song. So beautiful. Sky Full of Song was the first single of this album. This is the first track with Earth from Highest Hope. I love how peaceful and stripped back it is. It just focuses on Florence's voice and what she has to say, the story that she has to tell, and it's just so peaceful and beautiful and really paints like a beautiful picture. There's really a cinematic quality to Florence's music in a general, but this song in particular, along with Big God. I really love the background vocals on this track. She kills it already. I know it's kind of weird to say that about such a beautiful song, but she really kills it when it comes to background vocals. The background vocals on Sky Full of Song really creates an atmosphere that is even stronger and even more emotional and moving. Wonder if it's gonna be just a voice on the piano for the entire song. That would be actually quite interesting. It was such a I liked how Grace was a bit different from the rest of the track because it was really piano driven, even though there's a lot of big drums and chords and horns in it. I don't know who played the piano on this song, but it really added something. It almost didn't feel like Florence The Machine at first, which I kind of enjoyed. It was an interesting song. It talked about Grace, who is Florence Welsh's sister. It was definitely a very heartfelt song, and you could feel that. Okay, so the piano was played by Sampha. I should have known it because you definitely can feel his influence on the piano now that I think about it. What the Oh my god, I love Sampha. I should have known that it was on this album. Florence The Machine and Sampha. What the
Oh, Patricia, you've always been my North Star. This cold world, beautiful. You told me our doors are open.
If she doesn't bring a gospel core at the end, this is really a missed opportunity. Actually, she is her own core, so there's really no trouble there. It almost sounds like a different song, this part. Okay, I think Patricia is gonna be my favorite song on this album just because of that outro. It kind of reminds me of How Big or Blue or Beautiful. And you have to know that if you mix chords, beautiful angelic vocals, and horns, on an outro and you make it so cinematic and so epic that I'm definitely gonna love it. I think it's interesting that she chose two people to write songs completely dedicated to them. There's her sister Grace on the previous tracks and there's Patti Smith on this track. I just like that there are songs that are absolutely inspired by one person and we know who is this person. The drums on this track were once again very great, but they felt also very catchy, which is an element that I really liked about this track. I feel like this is one of these songs that it's just gonna sound so incredibly beautiful live and people are gonna lose themselves in the songs. I really have to praise the horns on this track that were once again apparently played by Kamasi Washington, so it's no wonder that it sounds so beautiful. 100 Years kind of reminded me of Fleetwood Mac for some reason. Maybe because of the drums and the use of the drums, which once again were very interesting on this track. It probably reminded me of Tusk a bit, the way the song is really drum driven and everything seems to work around it, but at the same time, the melody is really strong. Just the drums really add something in particular, and they really make the song even more powerful. This could be an instrumental song, and I'd be fine with it. Wait, is that a true story? Did Florence grandmother really jumped off a balcony? The End of Love was a very personal song. I don't exactly know what it's about. It kind of feels about a family. She talks about her grandmother's suicide, I think. I don't know if that's a true story, but she was talking about how she threw herself from the balcony, which I believe is probably not a true story in that case, but like a grandmother did a few years ago. It felt very, very personal and very moving, and I liked how the song, once again, was quite stripped down in a Florence and the Machine kind of way, of course.
And it's hard to write about being happy, cause the older I get, I find that happiness is an extremely uneventful subject.
This is so true.
But I must confess, I did it all for myself. There'll be no grand words to say, no chorus will come in, no ballad will be written, this will be entirely forgotten.
Oh yes, that's the way she chose to close the album and it's perfect. No Call is a song about how happiness doesn't need to be advertised. When you're happy, you don't need to be like, look at me, I'm happy, and usually people do that are not happy at all. It's almost a confession as an artist to say, well, you know, I talk a lot about sadness in my songs, and she's not the only one, and a lot of artists talk a lot about sad subjects in their song, and people are always like, why are you talking about things that are so depressing and stuff? But the thing is, and I actually really agree with this, and a lot of other artists talked about it, but it's much easier to write about something that is sad, or to write when you're sad that when you are happy, because when you're happy there's not much to say really, but when you're sad you become very reflective and you have just a lot to say. This is almost a depiction and a conclusion of the entire album, because she says, well, there's no need for a chord, there's no need for like a lot of instruments, huge orchestrations and stuff, something that musically she used to do a lot. She's like, we can do it in a simple way. And I feel like High as Hope was a much lighter and a much happier album than the rest of them. I'm gonna conclude actually my video on this. First off, this album lyrically isn't about a relationship, which A Big, A Blue, Beautiful was, and it what made it so painful and so dark at times. She talks about a lot of different things. She's very reflective about her own career, about the youth. Some of the songs were more focused on certain people. Grace, which was about her sister. Patricia, which was about Patti Smith. And I feel like for the first time Florence Welch really touched on different subjects. There's a huge maturity to this album, which wasn't on the previous one. I'm not saying that the previous albums weren't mature, but I feel like this one is really Florence coming to a point in her life and in her career when she's able to just look back at everything that she has done and look at the people that she loves. I also think there's something interesting about Arnold Core was telling us that you don't need a core, you don't need all this fancy orchestration, you don't need to do too much, you don't need to be loud to be emotional and to talk about your feelings and to be happy, because this album was definitely very stripped down production wise compared to the previous ones. For example, Sky Full of Song was the first song we've heard on the album, and it's the perfect embodiment of this album. There's not much going on production wise. It's very peaceful. Even Florence is not trying to do too much with her voice. She's very laid back. There's also something that I have to praise, is how Florence The Machine are able with each album to reinvent their sound without sounding too different. They have a very specific sound, they always keep it, but they found a way to reinvent it. And on IS Up, they're going for a more stripped down sound. And they also use elements that they didn't use as much on the previous albums. Drums were very prominent on ceremonials, of course, but I feel like on this album they really used it in a different way, in a very interesting way. A lot of the drums are really the centerpiece of the orchestration of most of these tracks, and they really come to add something different. For example, on 100 Years, I feel like the song could totally exist without the drums, but it would be a totally different sound. There are also horns that were used on previous albums and previous songs, especially A Big, A Blue, A Beautiful, which to me is a career pick. But they used the horns on a different way on this new album, High as Hope. It sounded very jazzy and it added something new to their sound, which helped reinvent it without sounding too different, because, you know, they've used horns before, they just haven't used it in the same way. All of these songs kind of use the same progression. All of the songs on the album kind of use the same elements, but there isn't one song on this album after a first listen that sound the same. And to me this is really incredible, because a lot of artists, when they use the same elements for an entire album because they want to be cohesive, make albums that are really repetitive and that, you know, songs that don't really stand out next to each other. But on this album I feel like each song stands out. Each song is different. Of course there are similar elements, because the album is cohesive, and this is really important for an album, but each song has something to offer. And I really like in the end that it's only 10 songs long, because maybe if there were a bit more songs it wouldn't be as impressive. So if I sum up IS Hope, vocals are great. Florence sounds heavenly, It's beautiful. The production is stunning. Florence and the Machine reinvented the sound, but they stay true to themselves. Each song is different. This is something that we have to love. And the album is cohesive. That's something we have to respect. And the lyrics are pure Florence in the sense that it is relatable, but it's at the same time poetic. It feels very personal. It's very moving. To me, I'd say that with Highest Hope, Florence and the Machine did it again. They made another album that is absolutely great, and a band that after 3 albums that keep getting better and better and bigger, achieved to make a 4th record that is as stunning and as great as the previous ones. There are not that many bands in the world at the moment that are able to do that. My key tracks for Highest Hope are South London Forever, Hunger, that I absolutely love, and Patricia. Actually, it's kind of hard to pick songs from this album, especially after a first listen, because I think a lot of them are definitely gonna grow on me, but those are the ones that I really enjoyed on this one. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your reaction to this new album by Florence and the Machine on the comment section down below. I'm really looking forward to see what you have to say about this album, what you think of it. We have 4 album hints with Florence and the Machine, and they never disappointed me. Maybe you have a different feeling about it. Even if we disagree, I'd love to hear what you think of Highest Hope. Take care, guys, and I'll see you next time.